Hey y'all, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther, and I was seriously fighting for my life in my last video, kind of like a Sagittarius, fighting for my darn life. They certainly slide in sideways, and they cannot hide it. So yeah, last video is certainly Sag energy through and through. So I've done a heck of a lot more organizing this time around. And I want to talk about a lot in this video. I'm not sure how far I am going to get. This video is called The Return to Embodiment. We are talking about 3iAtlas, the planetary initiations, the Aquarian age. I want to talk a lot about the Sagittarius energy due to having a pile up with the sun, new moon, December, 19th, something like that. So we have a pile up in Sagittarius with the sun, the moon, Venus, and Mercury. And so I really have been thinking a lot about 3iAtlas coming in from the Sagittarius part of the sky with the galactic center and us leaving the Aquarian age. So Sag and Pisces both have the ruling Jupiter in common. And I started looking at the sequence of planets that 3iAtlas had activated or gone by. And it came in through Sag, and it will be exiting during many of our planets in Sagittarius. So that is certainly a theme. And Mars is a big theme as well. And so I want to talk about quite a few things. And the introduction to this video is quite wild. And I want to ground this with Earth because a 3iAtlas is closest to Earth in Virgo on December 18th or 19th in proximity to Earth. And I have just had so many realizations of how disconnected we all are for so many reasons. I watched a video this evening with Stephen Burns on, I cannot remember the guy's name, but a very, very spiritual channel. He's a geophysicist. He is very scientific and grounded with they're talking about the sunspots and earthquakes and volcanic activity and, all of that. So, yeah, he is certainly onto something because we are just not in tune with how important reading the sky's energy is with grounding ourselves back in Earth. And then I'm like, realizing that astrology doesn't actually include the Earth. The human design actually includes the Earth. I did a whole video on that. And I'm like, wow, Earth is missing. The feminine has been missing. It's just really wild. So I'm going to say a couple of sentences of my introduction, and then I'm going to make a funny segue because I just had another freaking realization. So, in older cosmologies, the sky was never treated as a clock. It was a road. Things did not happen in the heavens in isolation from human life. They moved through the sky, and that moment in itself carried meaning. The ancients did not separate astronomy from psychology or astrology from ethics, or myth from survival. They watched pathways. They tracked entrances and exits. They paid attention to what changed while something passed through. And so I started looking into pre-modern cosmologies, treating the sky as a route of passage, not a schedule or time, like a clock. Time was qualitative and directional, not quantitative and mechanical. Things moved through meaning. They didn't trigger outcomes on dates. Because I wasn't going to go down this rabbit hole of 3iAtlas. I wasn't going to go into the rabbit hole of Charlie Kirk and the political face and religious background. I certainly have fallen into that rabbit hole. I did a crap ton of research on that, and as well as 3iAtlas. And yeah, so I've got like 10 different series going on here. I just wrote a couple of books that I want to make many videos on. I wasn't going to get into reading the sky chart interpretation of planets and where they are and what it means. You know, I don't really get into the prediction type of ordeal. I like the psychological foundational, what does this mean? Picking every single thing apart, like cognitive functions, what do they mean? And then the planets, what do those mean? But yeah, so what cultures explicitly treated the sky as a road rather than a clock? And so we've got the Mayan, literally called the Milky Way the White Road. The galaxy was a cosmic roadway. So the Mayans, the Australian Aboriginal song lines, ancient Egyptians, ancient cosmology did not track time the way we do. So they saw the night sky as a journey, a series of gates, ordeals, and alignments, movement of raw through regions, not hours. The sun didn't set at 6 p.m. It entered a phase of passage. Initiation, not scheduling. I just want to bash my head on the wall. We have lost all initiation. Men are not initiated. Boys are not initiated into men anymore. There's so much lack of initiation, even looking at the sky. For God's sakes, like, why didn't I see this earlier? And then Greek mythic cosmology. Early Greek cosmology treated the sky as a field of archetypal movement. That's how I'm looking at it. Gods traveling omens as directional shifts, not predictions. Chronos time came later. The Norse cosmology, they saw it as a pathway system. Worlds were accessed through movement. Odin gains wisdom by traveling the worlds. The cosmos is a network, not a calendar. Vedic cosmology, the yugas are not clocks. They are states of consciousness humanity moves through. Movement is moral, psychological, and energetic, not scheduled. This is why Vedic time spans are symbolic, not literal. So when did the sky clock idea take over? The shift happened when Hellenistic astrology, late Greek to Roman, church calendars, medieval agricultural, the mechanical clock, 14th century, Newtonian physics, absolute time. Astrology became predictive, event-based, date fixed, detached from myth. The sky stopped being a teacher and became a timer. That's not ancient, that's administrative. So I'm trying to get it back to seeing this as initiation, a road, a path. Ancient cosmology as road does not mean superstition, fate, loss of agency, and cosmic control. It means the opposite. It assumes humans participate, meaning emerges through movement, awareness matures through passage. Nothing is fixed until embodied. This video is literally called The Return of Embodiment, and I found myself being slapped in the face again over this. It's just like, I just innately knew it. That's kind of how I talk about it. I just didn't really get into the actual history, and I did right before I turned the video on. And I'm like, yes, that makes sense. The ancient worldview, the sky was relational, meaning emerged through movement. Events mattered less than passages. Knowledge was participatory, not explanatory. The modern worldview, the sky becomes mechanical, time becomes linear. Meaning becomes predictive. Knowledge became extracted. What are we doing to the earth? Extracted, not lived, not embodied, not tended to. Oh, gracious. So, yeah, I just thought that was really wild. So anyways, that was a little rabbit hole I just like fell face first into and was upset there for a minute. Becoming more conscious is an endless road. I've been doing this for over 20 years now, researching relentlessly, and I'm still getting smacked in the face. Like I just innately, deeply knew, you know, studying Native American teachings all this year, I've really changed my views on a lot, as well as integrated a lot of things, obviously. All right, so now that I got that out of my system, I feel better. All right, so when something unfamiliar appeared in the sky, they did not immediately ask, what does this mean? In the modern sense of interpretation or prediction, they asked something far more practical and grounded. What shifts while it is here? The sky was not issuing commands, it was reflecting orientation. So, the age of Aquarius, we are completely reorienting ourselves. I really truly feel like 3iAtlas has really kicked off the Aquarian age. We have Neptune and Saturn in the late degrees of Pisces. We have Pluto in the very early degree of Aquarius. And I think that it's really activating each and every planet. So really that means each and every part of ourselves is being activated and reoriented. Truly. So 3iAtlas belongs to that older way of seeing. It is not a messenger delivering a warning. It is not an omen demanding belief. It is not a prophecy. It is a traveler. And travelers are read by their path, not their presence. So, I want to talk a little bit about the sequence here. Archetypal order, psychological timing, and collective thresholds. I want to explore why this moment in history feels quieter but more final than others. Why systems are unraveling without dramatic collapse. Why relationships are ending without hostility, and why belief itself seems to be losing its grip before structures visibly fall. What is happening now is not revolution, it is withdrawal. And withdrawal is how civilizations actually change. For over 2,000 years, human consciousness was shaped by the age of Pisces. Bringing it back. For over 2,000 years, Pisces consciousness prioritized faith over proof, meaning over embodiment, and belief over structure. Authority lived outside the self, and gods, institutions, saviors, doctrines, and intermediaries who claimed to translate truth on behalf of the collective. This was not an error in human development, it was a necessary phase. Pisces taught empathy, imagination, compassion, and sensitivity. It also trained humanity to endure suffering in the name of meaning. People learned to tolerate pain if it promised redemption. They learned to obey if obedience carried spiritual reward. They learned to sacrifice themselves for stories that promised transcendence later. Jupiter ruled this era, the age of Pisces, which we are now transitioning out of. Meaning came first, action followed. Mars and then Jupiter. Jupiter and then Mars. Jupiter, age of Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. It was a Jupiterian belief and then action. 3i went from Sagittarius by Mars first, and then it will be leaving our solar system by Jupiter. This is now a Mars-Jupiter activation, not a Jupiter-Mars like Piscean age was. Bodies complied, but no age lasts forever. As Pisces completes, Saturn and Neptune move through the final degrees of the sign. Degrees associated not with awakening, but with exhaustion and completion. Neptune dissolves illusion. Saturn removes what cannot function. Together, they do not inspire new dreams. They ask a single sobering question. What is real enough to survive without fantasy? I wanted to get my Saturn. I'm going to move this whole thing and screw everything up. I didn't turn it on for no reason. You can't see it. I had to get a new. Oh well. All right. Sorry. I was getting distracted. Alrighty. So Saturn removes what cannot function. Together, they do not inspire new dreams. They ask one question: what is real enough to survive without fantasy? This is why belief systems are not exploding in mass revolt. They are quietly failing. People are not outraged first, they are tired. Faith no longer regulates the nervous system. Meaning without embodiment no longer stabilizes life. This is not a crisis of belief. This is a crisis of authority. Sagittarius marks the transition point between belief and direction. It points towards the galactic center, where it came from, the gravitational heart of the Milky Way, the place around which our entire galaxy rotates. We are very sun-oriented, ego-oriented. The galactic center, in my opinion now, certainly represents the, well, not necessarily the galactic center, but we are having a super ego activation. We've been very ego-driven, and now we are being asked to collectively integrate the super ego. So, anyways, the galactic center, the gravitational heart of the Milky Way, the place around which our entire galaxy rotates. Across cultures, this region was understood not as a ruler, but as an orienting force. It was not law itself, it was the source of direction, the source of being. I actually wrote a little bit more. I might get into it. This is just the introduction. Anywho. So it was not law itself, it was the source of direction. Sagittarius is often misunderstood as philosophical excess or abstract idealism. In its deeper function, Sagittarius is ethical orientation. It asks not what is true, but what direction deserves movement. Truth in Sagittarius terms is something you walk towards. When collective consciousness is activated through Sagittarius, societies begin to reassess trajectory. Not through outrage or debate, but through a subtle internal realization that the story they are living inside no longer points where they are going. This is why Sagittarius season has historically coincided with lawmaking, moral reckoning, and initiation. As winter approaches and survival tightens, direction becomes more important than belief. 3iAtlas entering awareness through Sagittarius does not create this moment. It coincides with it. The sky reflects a question humanity is already asking. As the sequence unfolds, the first archetypal gate activated is Mars. Mars governs action, movement, boundaries, survival, intelligence, and embodied will. Mars is not aggression, Mars is motion. It is the force that decides whether something continues or stops. So I was watching a really cool animated video on how 3iAtlas came in and, you know, all the planets are rotating and what it went by first, and it was so cool. So cool. So yes, Mars was the first activation. So, Mars is motion. It is the force that decides whether something continues or stops. For most of human history, Mars acted on behalf of Jupiter. And I've literally just created a new planetary series, and I've literally updated all of my descriptions of the planets. I've really been integrating a lot of new information, not new, but more, I don't know, deeper wisdom, really, into what each planet represents. So for most of human history, Mars acted on behalf of Jupiter. Belief came first. Action followed. Bodies obeyed ideology. People fought, worked, endured, and sacrificed because meaning told them to. That order is now reversed. Mars is moving first now. Collectively, this does not look like rebellion. It looks like disengagement. People are quitting quietly. They are withdrawing effort. They are opting out without protest. They are no longer willing to perform belief with their bodies. Mars is asking a new question. What is not worth my life force? You can see this in women. You can see this in Ian Carroll's app, the Buyer app. You can scan your food now and see who actually owns the company. A lot of your organic companies are owned by the bigger corporations, and they're not actually organic. You're seeing this across every field. Relationships are changing a lot. Mars is asking a new question. What is not worth my life force? This is not weakness, it is maturity. Mars has stopped asking what it must defeat and start asking what it no longer needs to carry. Before meaning can reorganize, attachment must change. This is the role of Venus. So we are in a Venetian age. I'm not going to talk about that here too much, but it is we have closed out many different cycles, and we are moving from a Martian age into a Venetian age. And yeah, so that is, I don't want to get too far into that. That's a whole different series. So I'm going to just keep going and stop getting distracted. So Venus governs value, bonding, attraction, coherence. You can think about it has been a Martian age due to patriarchy. That's what I mean. It's all about hierarchy, patriarchy. That is a Martian age. And now we are in a Venetian age. Women are making more money. They're a lot more, they have more education. They're able to make decisions about a lot of different things now. It's been about 50 years or so. So a lot of things are changing. I'll just put it that way. I don't want to trigger you too much, but it is what it is. So, oops. All right. So, Venus governs value, bonding, attraction, coherence, and the invisible agreements that keep people connected. Venus does not command, Venus selects. She determines what feels worth staying attached to. Oh, I'm going to knock this whole thing down. I'm struggling. Okay. Sorry, I broke my other camera stand fell apart. It's old. All right, as long as it didn't fall backwards, I think I'm good. All right, so this is why the Venetian phase feels relational. Relationships are not exploding in conflict. They are dissolving quietly. Attraction fades where coherence is gone. Loyalty dissolves where vitality has drained. This is not emotional numbness, it is discernment. Venus is dissolving trauma bonds, obligated based loyalty, inherited value systems, and the belief that endurance equals love. Desire withdraws first. Systems starve second. It's happening, guys. It's happening. All right, so this is the bridge phase between Mars and Jupiter, and it is why everything feels personal right now. Attachment must change before action and meaning can reorganize. Modern astrology often forgets Earth. Mother Earth, the feminine, has been forgotten in religions, in society. It's just poor Mother Earth. That omission matters more than most people realize. Earth represents gravity, consequence, embodiment, nervous system regulation, and sustainability. Without Earth, consciousness floats, meaning detaches from the body. Think about that. Spirituality disassociates. Systems extract until collapse. Earth represents gravity, consequence, embodiment, nervous system regulation, and sustainability. Meaning detaches from the body. Spirituality disassociates. I mean, no wonder women are a little more spiritually and emotionally advanced. Embodiment. Constant humility monthly. Systems extract until collapse. Virgo is Earth's intelligence. So 3iAtlas will be in Virgo when it's closest to the Earth, and it is a beautiful reminder to be embodied. We are bringing it back to embodiment. So Virgo is Earth's intelligence. Virgo asks whether something can be carried, repeated, repaired, and lived daily. It does not care how inspiring something sounds, it cares whether it works. At 3i's trajectory brings attention back to Earth symbolism. There is a collective return to embodiment. Not fear, correction. Humanity is being asked to reconnect body and meaning, nervous system and ethics, survival and truth. This is why physical health, land, food, labor, and daily rhythms are becoming central again. Abstract ideology is no longer enough. Only after attachment and action shift does Jupiter step in. Jupiter is not gone, it is repositioned. So 3i will be saying sayonara to us when it reaches its closest point to Jupiter. Like, peace. Came in through Sag, leaving with all of our planets in Sag, leaving us saying peace to the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. Peace. I'm going to upgrade your Jupiter last. Isn't it beautiful? That's such a funny, beautiful story. Jupiter now follows reality instead of commanding it. Meaning is being formed after behavior changes, not before. So we are already going through this integration in age. Just 3i is really like the fireworks, you know? This is why people say they don't know why they left something, only that they couldn't stay. The body moves first, the story came later. Jupiter in Cancer. We have Jupiter in Cancer. My whole 2025 has been Jupiter in Cancer energy with my ancestral generational trauma healing on my Native American side. Wow. I spent an entire year genealogy, going generations back, gathering all of my paperwork for my tribal cards. Yeah, it's going through tons and tons of family photos. It's a big wound for me. Jupiter in Cancer emphasizes emotional integration, lineage, reckoning. We can literally feel generational trauma 7 years back. It is still in our blood. You do need to work on your generational healing. If you yourself heals that, you can heal 7+ generations forward. We need to get back to generational thinking. Generational thinking, organic farming. embodiment, and taking care of ourselves and the earth and our families. An ancestral context. Humanity is being asked to metabolize its choices emotionally without reinstating old authority structures. Belief no longer leads, it integrates. Man, Stephen Burns, I can't exactly remember how he said it, but he is really connecting the 3i with embodiment. Yes, with bringing our attention back to earth and ourselves, our own body. All right, so Pluto ensures there is no return. We have Pluto in Aquarius, I believe, at 2 degrees. So that is the wax seal on the letter, on the portal. Pluto ensures there is no return. Pluto does not persuade, it removes what cannot survive. In Aquarius, Pluto dismantles centralized authority and redistributes power into networks, systems, and decentralized intelligence. This is irreversible. Pluto ensures that belief-based obedience does not return. No savior structures, no myth strong enough to override embodied truth. Once energy withdraws, Pluto chooses the door. This is why this era feels final, not dramatic, but definitive. Psychologically, this is a rewrite of the collective super ego, and I really came to that realization because I've done a mandala. I don't know if you can see this, but I've been working a lot on my indigenous series. So I drew a mandala and it has all the directions. I've plugged in archangels, spirit animals, many different Eastern, Western philosophies. And winter season, December 21st is the solstice, winter solstice. So winter is considered the north in direction. So you've got the east, spring, south, summer, west, fall, and north, winter. And the Native Americans, many, many, many different cultures actually understand this. And they look at it as integration of self, following a path, going through gateways, focusing on certain things during certain seasons. The weather, the atmosphere, the season reflects what's going on internally. And so I assigned, because I get into the 4 sides of the mind and psychology heavily, I have assigned each direction to the 4 sides of the mind. Spring, ego, subconscious is summer, unconscious is fall, superego is winter. And then you get to the center, which is the sacred fire, and that's ether. Ether. Earth. Earth is spring. Summer is fire. Fall is water, actually. And then the north, winter is air. The wisdom of the elders. The season where we tell stories to each other to embody that and bring it forth through winter. So psychologically, this is a rewrite of the collective superego. The old superego said, obey authority, earn belonging, and sacrifice self for systems. The Aquarian superego, Aquarian age, says self-regulate, align with truth, withdraw from corruption, and build what works. Saturn. I am very Saturnian. Morality is not disappearing, it is internalizing, bringing power back to ourselves. People feel less guilt leaving what harms them, less fear opting out, less attachment to how it's always been, more responsibility for their own ethics. You think the superego is terrible, but there is a positive and negative to there's a polarity to everything. Everything. The superego at its highest is all about morality. This shift also explains why information no longer carries authority. Humanity has mastered information. AI proves that. What cannot be automated is integrity, embodiment, and lived truth. This is a Sagittarius North Node lesson. Truth is no longer debated, it is demonstrated. Now, I was sitting here staring. I always come back around to my many layers of studies. I just want to show this to you real quick. I need to figure out how to do this on my computer. Okay, so my key cards. You can buy this on my website. I do have a 33% off. Phoenix, Phoenix 33. Phoenix is the code, 33% off. If you want this or any of the personality types key card, they're on sale probably for like $1. So this is Sagittarius. No. And I have put the north and south node in there. I did that months and months and months ago. I was doing videos on Sagittarius. And I also put Chiron in there, the wounded healer. And I was sitting here staring, what is up with all this Sagittarius energy? You've got Jupiter. And then I realized, the axis is Gemini. What is the lesson there? I will get into it. I promise you. Very fascinating. What's the difference between Pisces and Sagittarius? I'm going to get into it. All right. So this shift also explains. Oh, I already said that. So this is. So, okay, I got into the Sagittarius North node. It sent me down another hole. I've got so much to say. I have so much to say. All right, so relationships cannot survive this shift unless they change. Old bonding relied on shared fantasy, endurance, obligation, and trauma. Aquarian bonding relies on coherence, nervous system safety, autonomy, and shared direction. That is the entire theme of the Aquarian age, especially in relationships. Love does not disappear, dependency does. Connection must now tolerate difference without control. Loyalty must be voluntary. Attachment must nourish life. This is why fewer relationships last, but the ones that do are cleaner, freer, and more honest. All right, so I had to do a little section on AI. AI is not the villain in this story. I was extremely against AI for a long time. Extremely against AI for a long time. And I realized that it's just like a gun. It's just like a knife. It depends on how you use it. Is it going to feed your family? Can you open a letter with it? It depends on the user. AI is a mirror. It reflects intelligence without ego, pattern without persuasion, function without myth. Authority collapses not through attack, but through irrelevance. Systems that require belief to function cannot survive when reality no longer cooperates. The final lesson of this transition is embodiment. For centuries, humanity mined resources, bodies, attention, creativity, and spirituality without tending Mother Earth or ourselves or our families. It's just everything became fuel. Everything was extracted. Tending is the lost spiritual practice. Care is intelligence, the highest actual intelligence. Intellectual intelligence only goes so far. If you're interested in the map of intelligence, look into Dr. David R. Hawkins. I have all of his books actually right behind me. That man is, I have no words. Brilliant, but also emotionally, spiritually all of it. Intellectually, I spent a whole year studying his work. I just looked at the clock. It's 3:33. All right, so Gemini 3. The Aquarian age does not pull humanity away from Earth. It demands a return, not to myth, not to saviors, not to fantasy, but to bodies, systems, relationships, and truths that can actually live. The sky did not issue commands, it offered a mirror, and the body answered. Only what's real gets to stay. Okay, so now I want to get into the Sagittarius Gemini axis, because 3iAtlas came in through Sagittarius in the galactic center from that direction and is literally going by Earth at its closest proximity when we have a multi pile up in Sagittarius. Sun, Moon, Venus, Mercury, all in Sagittarius. So that energy wants to be looked at deeper. And so that's what I'm doing. All right. So I got into, I wanted to kind of explain myself. I don't know if it's just interesting because I don't know anyone else doing this. I don't feel like editing this, so I'm just going to hold it here. So I was looking into, I can't remember where I found this information and what really made me put these in my key cards. And I'm like, who else does this? Evolutionary astrologer Jeffrey Wolfgreen. I'm going to have to look into him. He came up on my research. Is the closest formal match. Using nodes as soul evolution. South node is conditioned past patterns. North node, future-oriented growth edge. The Sagittarius Gemini specifically. So Sag, when you're looking at a personality, you always have to remember the polar opposite because they're always pulling on each other. If this wasn't enough information, add another one in. And so Gemini is over intellectualization, data collecting, and narrative looping. Sagittarius energy is lived truth, embodied belief, and moral courage. The soul evolves from knowing about reality to knowing through experience. So that is a huge lesson. Vedic astrology. So Vedic astrology gets into Rahu and Ketu, the north node and the south node. That's where I got a lot of my education from. The north node, hunger for future experience. South node, past mastery that no longer satisfies. So in that system, Gemini is the mental fragmentation, cleverness without wisdom. That's what we're trying to get out of here. Sagittarius, dharma, path, ethical action, truth lived through conduct. Information versus wisdom, speech versus law, trickster versus teacher. Hermetic and Gnostic cosmology. Sagittarius archetype represents logos, divine law, truth that orders chaos, and meaning that must be embodied. Not very many people talk about Sag like this, so that's why I wanted to. Gemini archetype, hermetically. Multiplicity for Gemini. It's really deep. I've tied every single alchemical stage to a personality type. Gemini is duality. Language and the trickster intelligence. Gnostic texts repeatedly describe the fall as becoming trapped in words, symbols, and intermediaries. And liberation as direct knowing, live truth, alignment with cosmic law, natural law. We are getting back to natural law, cosmic law. All right, so indigenous shamanic cosmologies. They don't use the nodes, but they absolutely use the same axis here. And so Gemini energy is talking in circles, storytelling, information exchange, and trickster medicine. And then Sagittarius energy in indigenous would be vision quest, walking the land, initiation through experience, getting back to initiation, looking at the sky like a path of initiation through gates rather than it affecting you, giving yourself your power back, truth proven by survival and action. So in these systems, I just lost my struggling. Wisdom is not spoken, it is walked. That is our lesson with all of this Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius is destiny, walking the path, embodiment, not just belief. And then in depth psychology, Jungian and somatic, Gemini phase is cognitive differentiation, language formation, persona development, and mental agility. And Sagittarius is meaning consolidated, value alignment, individuation through lived choice, integrity between belief and action. Jung warned explicitly about inflation through intellect without embodiment. So we are very much so being asked to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. So human design doesn't use nodes in the same way. So Gemini represents undefined mental centers and information pressure. And then Sagittarius is direction, trajectory, and lived authority. Lived authority. So my use of action, embodiment, movement, and authority through experience. So, yeah, so the north and south nodes is really evolution. The cognitive functions are how truth is processed. I do a lot about nervous system regulation, polarity, and the collective age. So I thought that was all very, very fascinating. So the nervous system must move, act, speak, and risk truth, or the soul stagnates. So why is the Gemini Sagittarius axis activated right now? Because AI equals infinite Gemini energy. Information is cheap. Words saturated, narratives equals unstable. The only thing that can't be faked anymore is lived integrity, embodied truth, and action aligned with values, which is the Sagittarius medicine. Many traditions agree humanity evolves from information to wisdom, and wisdom only comes through lived truth. We've mastered Gemini. Sagittarius is the next initiation. Truth is no longer something we debate, it's something we do. All right, so I was going to break down Sagittarius more. Let me see. Yeah, I think I'm going to go over this a little bit more. What am I at? 48? All right. I really want to get into the Sag energy and explain it unlike anyone else, because it's being asked to be explained, obviously, and looked at. All right, so we have North Node, South Node in Sag, and Chiron integration. So this key card is about leaving belief as an identity and embodying truth as action. Sagittarius is not faith. Sagittarius is orientation. And with these nodes here in Chiron, the lesson is no longer abstract. So the North Node in Sag says, stop outsourcing meaning. Live it. So I'm not just talking about I am explaining Sag energy, personality, cognition, but this is a collective lesson that's being asked to be seen and listened to and embodied. So stop outsourcing meaning, live it. Psychologically, this is a shift away from passive knowing and into lived conviction. Growth direction, speaking truth instead of managing perception. Whoa. Yeah, you extroverted thinking users. Did I sound like C.S. Joseph? I tried. Yeah, extroverted thinking users, they tend to try to manage other people's thinking. Yeah, it's annoying. I am a TI user just like Sag. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's all right. Acting on insight instead of refining theory. Trusting lived experience over consensus. Moving the body, not just the mind. Choosing direction even without certainty. So this is introverted intuition and extroverted sensing integration. That is psychology, if you didn't know. The cognitive functions. If you can see, I don't know if you can see or not, but yeah. So vision is introverted intuition. Must move into real world action with extroverted sensing. Insight must be tested through experience. Sagittarius North Node does not reward overthinking, waiting for permission. Mina Arfan, Sagittarius, waiting for permission. Does she do that? Absolutely not. Perfect certainty, hiding behind. I see both sides. It rewards movement. It's really, really interesting to see and now look at the. I follow Mina Irfan. She's a huge influencer here on YouTube that deals with the polarity, breaking down the feminine and masculine in relationships, how to integrate it in yourself. She has the 4 arcs of feminine and masculine evolution. What does she call it? Basic Babe. I can't remember. Basic Babe. Barbie. I can't remember her 4 different stages of evolution with the feminine. But yeah, she is such, it's just so cool to look at all the people that I've listened to for many years now in this lens, because I see it. I totally see it. She'll drop a huge course, like she'll literally sell a course before she creates the course. It's wild. And she sells out and then she does it as she goes. That's Sagittarius. They're a freaking hot mess and they make it work. They live tactically in the moment and they're okay with embodiment and movement and not overthinking and overprocessing and trying to be perfect and this and that. They live it. So they have confidence in that. And it's so beautiful. I love it. Sagittarius North Node does not reward overthinking, waiting for permission, perfect certainty, and hiding behind I see both sides. It rewards movement. The South Node in Gemini. All right, here's my Gemini key card here. The South Node in Gemini. Oops. There we go. Is collective information, explaining instead of doing, staying mentally agile to avoid commitment. I gotta take a moment of silence for myself. All right, let me start over. Sorry, I have like a thing. Gemini. I have a thing. That was my second or third book I wrote, and that was due to a failed relationship with a Gemini. Like, it's just too Jekyll and Hyde for me. They're fun, don't get me wrong, but yeah, the truth, lack of truth telling. All right, so Gemini energy here shows the old pattern of what we're trying to get away from. Collecting information, explaining instead of doing, staying mentally agile to avoid commitment, talking around truth instead of standing in it, knowing about life instead of living it. This is Mercury overuse. Cleverness without embodiment. Do you see the Mercury TE hero, Mercury hero, Gemini. So this is Mercury overuse. Cleverness without embodiment, options without direction, or I'm sorry. Yeah, options without direction. So yeah, it's just they're all over the place, very scattered. Endless questioning as a safety strategy. Gemini South Node isn't necessarily bad. The psyche has already mastered analysis, language, curiosity, and adaptability. Now it must risk belief made real. So the Chiron wound in Saggy. So this usually shows up as fear of being wrong, fear of being seen for what you believe, spiritual disillusionment, betrayal by teachers, religions, and philosophies, shame around conviction, hesitation to lead with truth. The wound sounds like, what if I commit to a truth and it fails me? So the defense becomes skepticism, detachment, irony, and staying flexible instead of devoted. The healing path. Chiron in Sagittarius heals when truth is lived, not preached. Belief is embodied, not defended. Meaning is proven through experience. And leadership comes from integrity, not authority. This place creates reluctant teachers and wounded truth tellers who heal by walking their talk. All right. I'm going to keep going here. All right, so Sagittarius, or the ISTP, is also known as the craftsman. So we have the TI hero, introverted thinking hero, is internal truth testing. Does this actually work? Extroverted sensing parent, action, responsiveness, and embodiment. I learn by doing. They're very hands-on. My little girl's birthday is the 18th. Sagittarius through and through, Mercury ego, heavy Capricorn like myself, other than that. This is why Sagittarius here is not mystical, it's tactical fire, embodiment. I am hammering on this personality type because we are being asked to act like the healthy, not just act, embody, do, live this energy in its healthy form. Tactical fire, truth must move, build, test, fail, adapt, and succeed. Mercury as introverted child, left field. Hopefully you can see this. This shows insight without ego attachment. Intuition is a guide, not a throne. Vision that wants to be tested. Pattern recognition that feeds action. Mercury here supports the North Node by saying, I'll give you the map, but you still have to walk. Extroverted feeling inferior at the bottom. This is the vulnerability point. With nodes in Chiron and Sagittarius, external validation weakens, approval no longer stabilizes identity, emotional consensus stops being the compass. This is why people feel less motivated to explain themselves, relationships reorganize fast, and approval-based bonding collapses. It's truth over harmony. Psychological translation. So this configuration is asking, who are you when you stop narrating your life and start living it? The psyche is being rewired from belief to action. The fiery freaking horse on fire, running around, galloping around, you know what I mean? So instead of thought, oh, okay, so instead of spinning your wheels thinking and not moving, this is superego reorganization. No more borrowed moral codes, no more inherited belief systems, no more consensus-based meaning. Relationship implications. Old bonding is shared ideas, shared beliefs, shared identities, and shared trauma narratives. New bonding is shared direction, shared values and motion, shared experience, and shared integrity. Healthy masculine and feminine from both partners. People don't ask, do you agree with me? They ask, can we walk in the same direction? That is Aquarian age bonding. All right, so that's my little section on Sag and Gemini axis. I love this like polarity. I see things like on axis axes. And that takes a heck of a lot of studying because you've got to get one down first. All right. Collective context, why this is happening now. We are leaving the Piscean faith, projection, saviors, and illusion. Jupiter as unquestioned authority. We are entering into Aquarius, sovereignty, decentralization, and lived truth. Earth as regulator, Mars as initiator, and Jupiter as witness, not ruler. Sagittarius becomes the bridge, belief becomes action, meaning becomes movement, and truth becomes embodied. So Sagittarius North Node, or Sagittarius energy here, means truth is no longer something you believe, it's something you live. We're not being asked to know more, we're being asked to move. The wound around truth heals when belief stops hiding and starts walking. Earth returns. So now I'm going to ground ourselves back from Sag energy. There's so much to say about why we are being asked to look at the Sagittarius energy and how we can incorporate that into our lives. So that's why I wanted to start there. All right, so now we're going to get back into Earth because 3i is going to be the closest to Earth December 18th and 19th. And that is the winter solstice. We've got multiple planets in Sag, so yeah. All right, so Earth returns. 3iAtlas, the end of the Piscean age, and the grounding of the Aquarian future. So there was a time when the sky wasn't treated like the prediction engine. It was treated like the path. Things didn't happen in the heavens, they moved through them, and movement itself was the teaching. 3iAtlas belongs to that older language. It's a traveler. And travelers don't explain themselves. They reveal where the road is. From the galactic center to the ground. 3iAtlas enters from Sagittarius territory, the direction of the galactic center, the deep core of the Milky Way, the place ancient cultures understood as origin, law, and orientation. That's another huge reason. I'm not going to get too deep into this here, but I see the galactic center as obviously yin or feminine energy. Think black hole. Think the darkness. Think where everything came from. The womb, the ground is dark. And that is just another initiation into the Venetian age. That is, for me is huge proof. Huge proof. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Sagittarius has always been about meaning, belief, worldview, the story that organizes life. It's really, really huge for all of us to ask, where did this come from? Oh, near the galactic center, huh? Our whole system, we're so sun focused. We're so sun focused, ego focused, and not even embodied in Earth. We don't even talk about Earth, let alone embody it. It's not even in our minds. And then 3iAtlas comes to smack you in the face and be like, hey, look at the bigger picture here. Where did you really come from? And then you cascade into your Jupiter Cancer energy, researching your ancestry 10 generations back if you can. Where did I come from? What is the story here? How do I embody that in the most healthy way and heal generations? Do what the generations prior could not, especially as women. That was my initiation this year. That is my fire. That is my embodiment. So for over 2,000 years, the age of Pisces. Oh, okay, yes. Okay, and for 2,000 years, the age of Pisces, that story was carried largely through faith, projection, saviors, symbols, and belief systems ruled by Jupiter. Pisces is obviously ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. Depends on what system you want to look at. Pisces expanded consciousness. It also blurred boundaries. Jupiter ruled the age by myths, by religions, big promises, big futures, meaning held outside the body. And now that age is ending, not with collapse, with completion. Neptune and Saturn, the last breath of Pisces. So we have Neptune and Saturn sitting at the final degrees of Pisces currently. The last spiritual fog clearing. If that ain't, you know, let me pull this up. Give me 1 second here. I can't remember how long it takes those planets to transition. I think I know where my note is. I do this every time. It ain't there, is it? It's not. Gosh darn it. Where did I put that note? I've got so much. I think it's here. Nope. I'm not going to be able to find it, am I? Alright. I've got 20 different things. Help me out. I wish I was live right now. I'm not. Anywho. I can't just type in. Let me see. I'm not going to be able to find it quickly. And I'm not connected to the internet right now. Alright, so anywho's. I know Uranus or Neptune is a larger cycle than Saturn. It's further out. Anyways, I can't remember the exact years it takes for Neptune to transition into another sign. That was what I was trying to look up. I thought I had it handy. Alright, so Neptune and Saturn sit at the final degrees of Pisces, the last spiritual fog clearing. This is the era-ending signature. Neptune dissolves illusion and Saturn demands reality. Together they say, what was imagined must now be lived or released. If you can imagine, my Saturn is Capricorn 10th house, my midheaven 10th house, moon 10th house. I've got a lot of Saturn, and it makes me laugh because it's also my Aquarius Mercury Saturn. People are so afraid of Saturn. It's like, yeah. What was imagined must now be lived or released. This is why spiritual bypass stopped working. Fantasy collapsed quietly. Savior narratives exhausted themselves. People became tired of hope without structure. Pisces gave us sensitivity. It also trained us to float. The nervous system can't float forever. All right, so Mars, the first gate, action over faith. So 3i came in through Sag, the galactic center, and activated Mars first. Well, the path, however you want to put it. Not necessarily, it just waved. Hey! It's the first gate. Although it is a Venetian age, Mars is the first gate. You gotta have action. Action over faith. Before Jupiter gets involved, Mars activates first. This matters. Mars is the body's decision-making function. It governs action, boundaries, direction, courage, and execution. I literally just did a new video on Mars. If you want to know more about Mars, check out that video. It's like 5 back or so. In older cosmologies, Mars was the gate of embodiment. What are you willing to do, not just believe? Mars comes before Jupiter in this age because action stabilizes before belief expands, movement clarifies before meaning solidifies, truth must be lived but before it can be taught. Got a lot of preachers up there that don't embody. Ooh, boy. Gosh. I didn't want to go down the Charlie Kirk thing. I really, really didn't, but I went far. There's a lot of preachers that don't embody what they're preaching. I'll just say that. This is why the collective feels pushed to speak, move, choose, act, and stop waiting. Sagittarius fire is no longer philosophical, it is tactical, on the ground. The Aquarian age does not reward passive mysticism, it rewards participation. Earth, the missing archetype, returns. So we went from the Sag galactic center to Mars, and now we're back at Earth. All right, so here's the key most astrology ignores. Earth was never meant to be excluded. Ugh. Astrology, get with it. Astrologers, hello. Hello. Learn a little bit about human design. It'll freaking blow your head off. All right. Earth was never meant to be excluded. The embodiment. If you want to know what your Earth sign is, if you know what your sun sign is the exact opposite. That's how you ground yourself. I have my sun in Pisces 11th degree. My Earth is Virgo 11th degree. My North node is Pisces and my South node is Virgo. That's not common. Not common. Pretty cool. All right. I think I'm pretty lucky on that one. In their actual houses, so. Yes, I am literally bringing the unconscious to Earth. That's literally what I'm doing here. Bridging the heavens and the earth. That is literally what I'm doing. That is like my life path. All right. Earth is not implied. Earth is not secondary. Earth is the final authority. Earth represents the body, gravity, consequence, nervous system regulation, sustainability, tending, and limits that sustain life. When Earth is missing, consciousness becomes extractive. We learn to mine meaning, mine relationships, mine attention, mine bodies, mine creativity, and mine spirituality, and call it growth. 3i is going by Earth. Well, not really. Not really. But it's the closest proximity. And so we are being, on a mass scale, reminded of Earth. Finally! Finally! Earth says, can this be carried? Can this be repeated? Can this be sustained? Can this be repaired? That question has been absent until now. So December 19th, the turn back to Earth. December 19th is not important because something came close, necessarily. It's important because attention returned to ground. After the Jupiterian belief expansion, Piscean illusion, Saturnian disillusionment, Aquarian decentralization, and AI acceleration, the psyche reaches a limit. And Earth steps back in, not as punishment, but as correction. This is why people suddenly care about embodiment, nervous system health, land, food, energy, sustainability, simplicity, and fewer but real connections. This isn't regression, it's maturity. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Jupiter. So after this close proximity 3i to the Earth, it will be leaving our system, waving goodbye to Jupiter last. So Jupiter, the last gate, meaning after action. Jupiter is last. That's the pattern. Jupiter governs meaning, worldview, expansion, teaching, and belief. In the old age, Jupiter came first. Belief led action. In the Aquarian age, action comes first. Jupiter follows to make meaning of what has already been lived. This is why old belief systems don't land anymore. People don't trust stories without proof. Lived experience outranks ideology. Authority must be embodied to be believed. Jupiter no longer crowns kings, it witnesses builders. Jupiter no longer crowns kings, it witnesses builders. Action over words. Action over words. Which one do you believe more, words or action? I love this reversal, don't you? All right, so I'm going to get into AI, decentralization, and why this feels inevitable. AI doesn't arrive because technology advanced. It arrives because centralized authority collapsed. Pluto in Aquarius is the long arc. Decentralization, networks over hierarchy. Networks is more of a feminine. Hierarchies are more masculine. So that is a difference between the masculine era for the last freaking 6,000 years. That's debatable. But yeah, I mean, it's thousands of years. We've been masculine led. Networking is more feminine. Intelligence over status. Systems over saviors. Aquarius. But Aquarius without Earth becomes disembodied, abstract, cold, and inhuman. Earth is the corrective. The future is not anti-human, anti-body, or anti-nature. The future is systems that must answer to embodiment. AI forces the question, what is human and what cannot be automated? The answer is Earth. Relationships in the Aquarian age. This is why attachment is changing so fast. Old bonding was survival based. Women, we don't have to get married anymore in order to survive. We can make our own money. We don't have to be treated like absolute crap and stay in the relationships because our survival depended on it. No longer survival based. No longer myth based. No longer trauma bonded. No longer future projection. Action over words, my friend. The new bonding is nervous system compatible. Embodied, honest, slower, regulated, autonomous, and sustainable. People aren't colder, they're less willing to self-abandon. Earth-based love is quiet, slow, consistent, no love bombing, no narcissism, no words over action. Earth-based love is quiet and it lasts. Think of the goat, the mountain goat, which is me. Quietly coming out of nowhere and, you know, hey, look what I built the last 10 years, 20 years. Hey, how are you? All right, the choreography completed. Here's the full arc cleanly. Galactic Center Sagittarius represents orientation and meaning pressure. Mars Gate is action, embodiment, and courage. Earth activation December 19th. Regulation, limits, and sustainability. Jupiter Gate, meaning earned through lived truth. And our Pluto and Aquarius, bringing in the Aquarian age. Decentralization and future systems. Fire gathers the story and water dissolves illusion. Earth decides what survives and air rewrites the future. This is not chaos. This is a civilization learning to live inside reality again. We didn't lose our way because we looked to the sky. We lost our way because we forgot to come back down. Earth was never beneath us. If you get that, you get that. Hold on. Hold on. This is so poetic. Earth was never beneath us. Pisces, Piscean age, Earth, inferior. Earth and fall in Pisces. I had to, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Earth was never beneath us. Earth was always the teacher. That was like the cherry on top. Ah, all right. All right, so I think I'm going to hammer more a little bit about Earth. Yes, I am, absolutely. What is this? I should probably break this up, but I'm having a good time. My last video was total Sag sliding in sideways, parking at the gate, barely clocking in on time. It was chaos. It was chaos. I'm enjoying myself this evening, so I am going to go a little longer. I've got 2 weeks off from work after this week, and so I am going to hammer my series. I'm excited. All right, so Earth, the missing archetype in astrology and in us. Astrology speaks endlessly about the sky. And I have to say this because I know a lot of you astrologers are watching. It's okay. It's okay. When you realize that you've missed Earth entirely, don't hate yourself. Just realize you're not alone. There's many people that are like, you know. All right, but the oldest cosmologies did not separate sky from ground. They understood something modern astrology mostly lost. Nothing in the heavens matters unless it can be lived in the body and on the land. Earth was never just a planet. Earth was the container of meaning. Earth was never just a planet. Earth was the container of meaning. When Earth is missing as an archetype, consciousness becomes unmoored. And that is exactly what is happening. What happens when Earth is forgotten? When Earth is excluded or minimized, several things happen at once. Knowledge becomes abstract instead of embodied. Meaning becomes conceptual instead of lived. Truth becomes ideological instead of practical. Spirituality becomes disassociation instead of grounding. Progress becomes extractive instead of regenerative. Progress becomes extractive instead of regenerative. Gosh, that word. And I'm going to pause and give credit where credit is due. Because I'm from a farming family. I live on the farm. I have my whole life. Okay. And it's not just a small farm, but Anyways, it's a large farm. We're pretty big farmers. And my grandfather has came out of farming retirement. He has multiple businesses. But he recently, in the last 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 seasons ago, he came back into farming. He's been buying a lot of land, and my father has completely turned everything around. He started farming when he was 25 or so, I think. And when he took over the farm, it was kind of a wreck. And he flipped everything and has been managing everything very, very well. He is I align more with my grandfather, my father in many ways. So he's very, very business. He's very professional. He has everything figured out to make money. And he got into the GMOs in 95, 96. And that's a whole huge path, huge hole. um it's difficult to realize that scenario. And my grandfather recently, 3 years ago, has gotten into organic farming. So he's using cover crops. And it's funny to me. I love them both. Very, very good men. They've set the freaking standard so high. And I've had a good life. I've had a very good life. I'm very appreciative. But their difference in farming is extreme. My grandfather is farming like he used to before all of the technology with genetically modified seeds. And it's really hard to go back to that after being out so long. I admire his courage, determination. People talk crap because, he's not spraying as much. He has more bugs, more grasshoppers. His yields are nowhere near my father's yields, obviously. He's barely breaking even, to be honest. He has other businesses, though, and makes up for it. I admire him deeply, deeply for that. I do. It's really wild to see the dynamic between the two because they're extreme. And I don't know what the answer is. It's hard to go back to that. I admire it. Hopefully it picks pace up and it's better than barely breaking even. And we'll see. We'll see. It's a huge undertaking. It's a lot of land, and I just admire it. It's not about money. It's about health of the earth and going back to the old ways. I almost want to cry. I'm getting emotional over it. So that is just, I wanted to give a personal example of the beauty in that. It's not just about money, it's about actual health of the soil and of the food itself. He has a huge organic garden every year. He gives a ton of food away. He only eats from his garden. It's just a total different lifestyle. I live on the farm and I work in the city, and I am like mixed in two worlds. It's really fascinating. My actual life is very slow paced. I can sit with myself. I can reflect. I can write books. I can study. And I live my life very differently than most people, and I am not as I'm very careful with what I watch. Like, I don't watch ads. I haven't watched mainstream news in 20 years. And I'm very, like, what do you say? I don't know. I saw my first AI, like, deep fake AI video on YouTube the other day. I was so distraught. I ended up writing a 73-page book and making a whole video about it. How to protect yourself, law. This is the age of Aquarius, information. Like, this is what I experienced and this is what to do about it. Bam, bam, bam. And I'm very concerned in many different realms. And I don't know. I can't find the word, but it just triggered me. And it took me 2 days to realize everyone around me. I was like talking to people at work and I'm like, hey, does this bother you? I'm extremely bothered. And they're like, oh, no, that's normal. And I'm like, no, that's not a good direction that we're going in for our kids. Like, where's the legislation behind protecting content creators from stealing their voice and their face and selling fake products? Like, what do you mean this is normal? This isn't okay. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot going on. So anyways, I just wanted to give a personal example of coming back to earth, and I see that in extremes on our farm. So I don't have all the answers. I'm just admiring it for what it is. So it's more heart. It's a more heart, not money chasing, ego flaunting ordeal. I mean, anyway, I know not everyone can do it. And so when Earth is excluded or minimized, several things happen at once. Progress becomes extractive instead of regenerative. I'm not going to try to say that word. Regenerative. There we go. We learned to look up for answers and forgot to listen down. So we gained theories, technologies, systems, and narratives, but lost regulation, rhythm, containment, patience, and relationship with limits. Earth is the archetype of limits that sustain life. Without it, we mistake limitlessness for freedom. Earth as archetype, not a sign, not a chart point. Earth represents the body, the nervous system, gravity, consequence, timing, sustainability, reciprocity, care, tending, what must be maintained daily. Earth. Gardening. Nurturing daily. Watering your plants every day so they survive. Nurturing. True nurturing. That's what Earth represents. Earth does not care what you believe. Earth asks, can this be carried? Can this be repeated? Can this be sustained? Can this be repaired? Can this live here? That question was removed from modern consciousness. Can this be carried? Future generations. Can this be repeated? Can this be sustained? Can this be repaired? Are we past the point of no return? Can this live here? Or do we have too much trash? And chemicals? And fake food? All right, mining versus tending. The core philosophical split. Here's the wound. When Earth stopped being sacred, it became a resource. Do you ever sit here and question, like, are you thinking in this moment, like, do you see the parallel between the Earth and the feminine? Do you see that? Do you feel it? Are you hearing it? I'm genuinely curious. And when Earth became a resource, so did bodies, relationships, attention, labor, creativity, emotions, and intimacy. This is the same pattern everywhere. Mining consciousness. Extract value quickly, maximize output, ignore regeneration, move on when depleted, treat exhaustion as failure, treat rest as weakness. Tending consciousness. Stay in relationship. Not in a relationship if it's bad. Stay in relationship. My nose is running, excuse me. Stay in relationship with yourself, especially. Stay in relationship with the seasons. Stay in relationship. Don't just look at everything like a clock. Notice depletion early. Repair before collapse. Honor cycles. Value maintenance. See care as intelligence. We were trained into mining, not tending. That's why burnout feels personal when it's actually cultural. That's why burnout feels personal when it's actually cultural. The psychological cost of being embodied, of not being embodied, excuse me. When Earth is missing, the psyche does this: lives in the future instead of the present, seeks meaning instead of regulation, chases intensity instead of safety, confuses anxiety with intuition, confuses collapse with awakening. People become mentally brilliant, spiritually articulate, emotionally flooded, physically exhausted. Because the body was never asked, can you hold this? Can you contain this? Can you nurture this continuously? Can you hold this? Earth would have to ask that. Relationships without Earth. Ugh. Cheers. Ah. All right, relationships without Earth. Without Earth, relationships become trauma bonded, fantasy driven, intensity addicted, crisis oriented, and unsustainable. Earth based relationships are boring to unhealed nervous systems. They feel slow, quiet, predictable, repetitive, and grounded. Consistency, action, not throwing your emotions all over the place. Trauma bonding. It's earthy, it's grounded, it's connected. It's slow but sustainable. But they are the only ones that last. Earth teaches love is not what ignites you. Love is what steadies you. That's why attachment is changing now. People aren't less loving. They are less willing to self-abandon. Attending a spiritual practice. Before temples, before texts, before priests, spirituality was planting, harvesting, repairing tools, feeding animals, caring for elders, preparing for winter. Tending was prayer. Mining replaced prayer with productivity. And the soul starved quietly. Earth spirituality is not flashy. It's repetitive, it's humble, and it's patient. And is the only spirituality that survives time. Why Earth is reacting now, December 19th. This is the part that matters most. After Jupiterian belief expansion in the Piscean age, Neptune illusion, Saturn disillusion, Pluto authority collapses, Aquarian decentralization, and AI acceleration. The system reaches a limit, and Earth steps back in as the final authority. Mother Earth steps back in as the final authority. Nature always wins. Not as punishment, as correction. Earth says, enough abstraction, enough extraction, enough disembodiment. The future must be livable. Earth is the final gate. This is why December 19th matters symbolically. Not because something came close, but because attention came home. The collective psyche is learning. Intelligence must be embodied. Systems must regulate humans, not consume them. Progress must include care. Truth must stabilize the body. And freedom must be sustainable. Earth becomes the gatekeeper. Integration. This is the teaching. Earth does not ask you to know more. Earth asks you to slow down, repair, rest, tend, choose fewer things, care better, stay longer, build slowly, listen to your body, and honor your limits. This is not regression, this is maturity. We didn't lose our way because we looked to the sky. We lost our way because we forgot to come back down. Earth was never beneath us. Earth was always the teacher. All right, so this piece is foundational. What am I at? Good God. All right, I am going to hammer a little more, and then I should probably, do my thing, vampire it, and go to bed. This is working 2 jobs. I'm literally running on 14 hours of work right now. All right. I need to listen to the grounding portion. This stuff really does light me up. I mean, seriously. This is where it's at for me. This totally grounds me, makes me feel better. Yes. This is my sole purpose. All right, so this piece is foundational. All right, so part 1, and I'll probably cut it off here. There's always tomorrow, as my grandmother would say. God bless her soul. Earth activation. Taurus Scorpio polarity, attachment healing. When Earth activates, attachment stops being psychological and becomes biological. This is the Taurus Scorpio axis coming back online in a mature way. Okay, so I have a whole 400-page book on the age of Aquarius explaining the Taurus Scorpio as the spine of the Aquarian age. It is a Venetian age, and we have, in order to be in an airy, Aquarian airy age, we have to ground through earth and water, Taurus and Scorpio. So, I'm not going to get too deep, but here we go. Scorpio governs attachment through intensity, fusion, fear of loss. Taurus governs attachment through safety, embodiment, stability, and self-worth. For a long time, attachment was Scorpio heavy. Bond through crisis, merge to feel alive, intensity mistaken for intimacy, trauma as glue. But Earth activation, especially with Uranus and Taurus, says, which we do have, if it destabilizes the body, it's not love. If it costs nervous system safety, it's not intimacy. So attachment heals by slowing down, not speeding up. What changes in relationships now? I don't know. Might be the wind. I think that was the wind. I was making sure there wasn't an animal running up on me. Should probably close the door. All right, we're good. I'm good. I've had like a pack of coyotes right outside my door, and I'm a little jumpy ever since. And I think there's like a raccoon somewhere. I'm not going to bother it, but he kind of keeps wrecking stuff. Rummaging. He's rummaging for food. Probably trying to eat cat food, but the cat's not outside. He's been in the house because it's been extremely cold. All right. It might be a raccoon getting desperate. Freak me out. Okay, it's just wind. We're good to go. Okay. All right. So, farm kid. All right. So, but Earth activation, especially with Uranus and Taurus, says if it destabilizes the body, it's not love. Women, if it does not stabilize your nervous system and body, it is not true love. If it costs nervous system safety, it's not intimacy. Into me you see. So attachment heals by slowing down, not speeding up. What changes in relationships now? Fewer highs, fewer crashes, less obsession, more consistency, less projection. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. It's it's going to be really rough for the masculine to step up and step in, really, truly. It already always has been more difficult for the masculine to connect and embody and be spiritual and be in tune with their emotions. It's a cultural thing. I get it. It's very sad. I do feel sad for the masculine, but in the same breath, like, I am not mothering that type of energy. And a lot of women feel that way. And I have a whole series on that, so I'm not going to get too deep here, but it's just really sad. It really is sad. On both sides. On both sides. Less projection, more presence. Less prove you love me, more can we build something real. People stop bonding over shared wounds, shared enemies, and shared fantasies, and start bonding over shared rhythm, shared effort, and shared ground. This is why some relationships quietly fade without conflict. They weren't wrong, they were just no longer sustainable. Earth doesn't dramatize endings, it simply withdraws support. That's attachment healing, Taurus style. We do have Uranus and Taurus. And that is a beautiful reminder of the Taurus-Scorpio axis that is the spine to the Aquarian age. Don't worry, I'm hammering that series. I have a whole book on it. I will get more videos of that out. Final solstice return ritual. So grounding message. All right, so winter solstice grounding. Let me see what's after this section. I've been writing poetry my whole life. All right, so yeah. All right, okay, so I'm just going to throw this in here for fun. December 19th isn't about something coming close to us necessarily. It's about us coming back to Earth. After belief systems fracture, after authority dissolves, after fantasy collapses, what remains must be livable. The Aquarian age doesn't pull us away from the body. It demands that intelligence becomes embodied. Relationships change because nervous systems change. Systems change because bodies refuse to carry what's real, what is not real. Earth becomes the referee. If it doesn't stabilize you, it won't last. If it can't be built, it won't survive. If it costs you your health, it is not wisdom. This is fear. This is not fear. I'm getting tired. It's maturity. The future isn't louder, it's steadier. And Earth is saying very clearly, only what's real gets to stay. So Sagittarius is gathered meaning, embodied meaning, moving, walking, living it. Pisces, dissolved illusions. Virgo, refined discernment. We have 3i in Virgo, the closest to Earth, reminding us about the Earth energy. Virgo in, Virgo and Earth. Capricorn, we have, what's in Capricorn? All of our planets are going to be moving in we have Mars in Capricorn. I can't remember the degree off the top of my head. Demanded structure. Aquarius removes false authority. And Taurus Earth decides what survives. So 3iAtlas does not cause this. It arrives exactly when attention collapses back into gravity. The sky offered a mirror. The body answered. All right, so I am going to cap this video here. I have more about the Earth, Aquarian age, Pluto and Aquarius. Oh, I'm getting closer. Let me hold on a second. Let me see how much further. I've probably got like 50 pages left. I'm so optimistic. It's ridiculous. Oh, gracious. Oh, yeah. I'm not even halfway through. All right. Yeah, I'm going to cap this here. I'm going to be speaking on the Earth, a whole bunch of stuff. AI, Pluto and Aquarius, polarity, Sabian symbols, Pisces, Mars. Okay, see, wait, hold on. I honestly want to cap this with. Oh, I've just got so much. I'm not even going to be able to find where I was at. All right, that's my sign. All right, that's my sign. I'm good. I'm having too much fun. All right. I hope you loved this video. I certainly had more fun with this video than the last. My last video was entirely embodying Sagittarius as a hot mess energy. And that is okay. Like, I am feeling this energy. I'm not Sagittarius by any. My Vesta is in Sag. I'm just not very comfortable. Myself personally, I love Sag, but I'm not very comfortable with that energy. So I actually am embodying that energy, and it makes me laugh. I work with many Sagittariuses, and I have to giggle because, like, you're a hot mess, girl. Like, you're a freaking hot mess, girl. But they have that physical energy. They have that energy. It's beautiful. I hope you learned a thing or two. A couple gems would be nice. I always hope to deliver the gems. And if you're interested in any of my books and or apparel, I have stickers of my key cards for the 12 personality types, Astro-Psychological. I have t-shirts, sweaters, zip-ups, computer cases. What else? I only have one collection launched. I do have two other collections in the works. I've just been on another rampage, so those will be dropped eventually. So if you're interested in supporting me through purchasing books or apparel, they're all 33% off until December 21st. And the discount code is Phoenix, Phoenix 33. You can find that in the description below. My books, my apparel, the links are all in the description. If you feel like leaving a comment about your thoughts, your feelings, what you think about 3iAtlas, if you've heard anyone else speaking about this whole journey like I am totally interested. I am always open to watching other people. I'm very open-minded. Um, I watch many different kinds of people, so I'm very open-minded. If you want to drop that, I'd definitely look into it. I love this stuff. So anyways, stay grounded. Certainly stay grounded. That is probably my overarching reason of making this whole Aquarian series is because I know a lot of people are waking up rookie style, like newly. Um, it's very, it shakes you, you know, it's upsetting and it's very upsetting. And so I want to bring everyone back to earth. I'm trying to be the bridge. I'm not trying, I am. Underwater Panther is the bridge between worlds, bringing the collective down to earth. That is the Underwater Panther Native American mythology. And that's just me. I have Capricorn stellium in my birth chart. And yeah, so grounding, earthing is extremely important. Extremely important. So anyway, like and subscribe. Thank you for all the new subscribers. I've gotten about 50 subscribers in the last couple of days. Thank you so much. It means the absolute world to me. Truly, absolute world to me. I am going to continue on these teachings and book writings for the rest of my life. So I'll be here. I'll see you in the next video.